Chelsea Rory is a biased prat who is 4'3". Your football opinions are dreadful. Stealing a living, you are. You're so clueless, fella. But then what I rate is, if I didn't understand it, he spelt it out for me perfectly. CLUELESS. In individual messages. Appreciated. Shut up and stop talking trash. You had to block my other account because I speak so many facts. And this one is actually my personal favourite. It wasn't aimed directly at me, although I was tagged in it. It was aimed at my dear friend Lawrence McKenna. He's asked Lawrence to do him a favour in a very polite way and has said, Lawrence, ask Rory why he speaks so much shit about us. Donny doesn't have a clue. Cheers, mate. Does he know that Lawrence and I are mates? What's happening, everyone? I thought I'd give you a nice little selection as to how my inbox has been looking over the past 24 hours since that video went up on the kickoff. I've been getting some grief, predominantly from Arsenal fans, and I wanted to have a conversation about it because I don't think it was quite as inflammatory as it has been positioned. Arsenal fans seem to be livid, and I can kind of live with that if it's fair, but I do feel like everything I said was justified, and I feel like I can justify it. I don't think Arsenal are going to make the top four. I appreciate that they are favourites. I appreciate that they should. I appreciate that Mikel Arteta has got them into the driving seat and deserves some reward and some credit for doing so. But I think there are a lot of twists and turns to come, and if Arsenal don't make it from here on in, I believe that that should be viewed as failure. But the reaction has been harsh. So we're going to have a look at some of the bits in particular that has riled some Arsenal fans. We'll go through it. I'll give you my reasoning, and hopefully we can keep it cordial and maybe come to some sort of an agreement in the comments below. Right, first things first. I grew up in Kilburn, northwest London, NW6. It is the north side of London. It therefore is Arsenal territory. I'm fully aware of the poise. I'm fully aware of the history. I'm fully aware of the footballing heritage of Arsenal Football Club. When I was a kid growing up, I'm never shy to say this, Arsenal were the biggest club in the capital. Arsenal were incredible. The marble halls, the traditions, winning doubles, Tony Adams, legends in the making. They were fantastic. And I am the first to admit that Chelsea were nowhere near Arsenal when I was growing up. I believe that we can have a conversation about the biggest club in London now. I believe that Chelsea's European Cups has really helped to change the landscape of London. And I think that since what Wayne Bridge did at Highbury off the back of that Hernan Crespo assist was the start of a shifting on the London skyline. I believe that that was the start. And when I was a kid, Arsenal were up here, Chelsea were down here. At the very least, it's a conversation now. In my opinion, Chelsea's European Cup secured in Porto put Chelsea as the premier club in London. You will find that on every video prior to that moment, I will always tell you that Arsenal are the biggest club in London. So I have no real bias. A lot of my family are Arsenal fans. My cousin, my dear friend, who is a cab driver, Arsenal season ticket holder. I'm fully aware of Arsenal, but it has gone mad. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a reaction. And I've got some of the points that I've said. And let's see how you feel about this. Okay, have a listen to this. I also think that the praise is slightly too lavish. Is that particularly controversial? All I'm saying there is that the praise is far too quick and far too forthcoming for Mikel Arteta. There seems to be a bit of a fanfare about what he's done, and I admit, Arsenal are on excellent form. But we seem to be celebrating him as if he's won a European Cup, and we are forgetting the miserable January that they had. We are forgetting quite how bad and turgid it has been under Mikel Arteta, and we are celebrating him now as if it is something incredible that has occurred. And it isn't. The form's good. Decent amount of wins consecutively. It's good. It's noteworthy. But all I've said is that the praise is far too lavish because I feel like Arteta has made some mistakes. A point in the video that seemed to rile a lot of Arsenal fans and also some of my dear friends sat around the table was the conversation regarding Aubameyang. I believe Aubameyang is a top-class player. I think he's borderline elite level, and I think he's definitely the best player at Arsenal Football Club when he were there. I think that Mikel Arteta's handling of that situation was poor. In my opinion, it is correct to bend over backwards for your top-class talent, to make your top-class talent feel indispensable. Yes, sometimes you have to bend over backwards. Sometimes you have to let them play by their own rules. Sometimes they will be belligerent, but they will also be brilliant. And therefore, I think Arteta got it wrong. I think Aubameyang firing on all cylinders with a point to prove in the Premier League for Arsenal would virtually guarantee that club top four, potentially more. Instead of that, through the stubbornness and obstinate nature of Mikel Arteta, Aubameyang is currently banging in the goals in Spain, and Arsenal until very recently was struggling to score, relying on Alexander Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah when they had the diamond that is. Aubameyang felt to me like mismanagement. Adam McCullough passionately disagreed. True Geordie passionately disagreed. Lawrence, less passionately, but I think still disagreed. I got some support in Boovy, which makes me question... No, I'm only joking, of course I'm not. It could have been handled in a more professional way, and had it been, Mikel Arteta would currently be reaping the rewards of one of the best players to have played for that club in recent history, pinging in goals. That isn't that controversial though, is it? Even if I'm wrong, some of the messages, I'm not that far wide of the mark, am I? Even if you disagree with me, there is a semblance of truth in what I'm saying, isn't there? This point in the kickoff video is actually very important because this exact moment ties into the Aubameyang thing, but this is what got loads of hate. The hate that I was talking about in the video was fine. That's why I've put it in the video. I think it's kind of okay, and I've got no issue with it at all. I would actually not describe it as hate. A lot of it was tongue-in-cheek jest, but there was obviously some that I've had to block, make sure can't contact me again because it was fairly poisonous. The poison often revolved around this particular point. There's something very important to note here. They got rid of Aubameyang. In January, they had more red cards than they scored goals.
Bro, I
he went to Barcelona and scored a hat-trick. Yes, of course it's a flippant comment. Of course it doesn't tell the full story. Of course I understand that there is nuance to every statement, and I'm on a show having an argument. It was a flippant way of handling it. But the reaction was wild, truly wild, and I can't quite understand it because it's true. It is true. The discipline at Arsenal under Arteta is a worry. So many sendings off. So many. Martinelli, an idiotic sending off. Partey went, didn't he? Xhaka obviously went. And I think it was Gabriel. That isn't acceptable. And I don't think Arsenal are a dirty team. In fact, they're one of the cleanest teams in the league. But they lose their head, they lose their cool, and something isn't quite right. I'm not wrong in saying that. They had more red cards than they scored goals. And yes, it was flippant. There is an underlying answer as to why. But you can't go mad at me for that, surely. Now here's one I didn't necessarily get wrong, but it was far too harsh at the time. So I'll fall on my sword here. I can sit back, I can accept it. When True Geordie says that is far too harsh, Rory, that's not fair, he is on something. Club, isn't it? It's how the club's doing. And the fact that they had a terrible January, they got launched out of 2 cups, they were never in Europe. Yeah, okay, they're doing all right in the league. Of course they're doing all right in the league. They barely play.
Oh, I don't think that's fair, Rory. Come on.
I did amplify the negative and almost mask creative facade around the positive because by this point we're in the deep argument and I'm doing my best to make a point. To everybody who sent me a message about this video, you've got it. For that particular moment, and to the True Geordie who flags it, I apologise. Now this is the worst part of the video. The comments and people talking to me are presenting it as if I have this bias, massive bias against Arsenal, which on some level I do. Of course I do. It's a bias born out of respect because we're rivals and because of the hurt that was caused to me by your club when I was a kid and because of the geography of where I grew up and because of the family ties and because of everything. Of course there is bias. Bias is what football is about. Tribalism is what football is about. But this wasn't that. And this point demonstrates it.
Rory?
No, Rory's just composing his tweets.
Tottenham.
I love
Tottenham.
that. Love that.
What?
Tottenham.
Rory's
slag them off every week.
Rory's saying
I
it because
don't
he's a
want
bit of a sadist.
I don't want
But you say they're terrible.
Okay, I'll
Do you know how difficult that was for me to say? Do you know how painful that was? Anyone that has ever watched anything I have ever done knows the way I feel about Tottenham Hotspur, knows how I approach Tottenham Hotspur, knows the fact that I love Tottenham languishing in the middle of nowhere. 2 League Cups since 1991 is my favourite phrase in the world. You think you're a big club because your great-granddad saw you win the double is one of my favourite sentences in the world. A club that won the title closer to the 1800s than to today. Beautiful stat. Beautiful. This is the club that I feel a rivalry with. This is the club whose fixtures I look for first. When the fixtures come out in August, when are we playing Tottenham? When are we going to the Lane? That is the first thing I think. So it pains me to say that Tottenham are going to make it. I don't want that to happen. I would far rather Arsenal make it. Chelsea and Tottenham, that is our biggest rivalry. That is the priority. And I desperately do not want Tottenham to make it. So any bias that you are seeing in this video, I will be fully supportive of Arsenal making it. I hope I'm proved wrong. This battle for fourth, despite Arsenal being front and centre of it and having it virtually in the bag, it's going to come down to some very important managerial decisions. And I think it will actually be won by the manager. So it's going to be a royal rumble of Mikel Arteta versus Antonio Conte versus Ralf Rangnick. Who is going to win that fight? Painfully, it goes against the grain, but I have to say Antonio Conte. That does not suit me. That is not what I want. So if you feel like I am being biased against Arsenal, trust me, it's nowhere near the bias I feel towards Tottenham Hotspur. Whatever you think of my approach to this, I promise you, I want Arsenal to make it over Tottenham. If it becomes a choice of those two, I will be virtually singing good old Arsenal. So, there you have it. They're my thoughts on that clip, because it went crazy. Honestly, I read out some of the comments earlier on in the video, but you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that came in. So I've blocked, 100 Arsenal accounts? Crazy stuff. And yeah, like I say, in the comments here, I'm very happy to be proved wrong. I'm very happy for you to have your say. Just do me a favour, don't talk about my family, if you can help it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a like, click subscribe, and I really do look forward to seeing you all very soon. I'm doing the kickoff tonight with Mr. McKenna, so make sure that you tune in over on the True Geordies channel. See you then.